Hey, thanks for joining me on another episode of Inbound TV. My name is Ken, and today I want to talk about how to craft your next best advertising campaign. Now, this kind of is a part 2 of our previous Inbound TV episode where we talked about crafting a model and a marketing campaign around your business on a cyclical basis, whether that be monthly, quarterly, weekly, whatever is best fit for your business. Once you figure out what you're going to be doing as far as an advertising campaign, the next step is to bring that to fruition and to actually create the actual campaign itself. But step 1 of that is creating the creative. So today, I want to review with you best practices and how to think about a way to go about your creative. There are so many different ways that you can illustrate your campaign, your products, your services to the world or to the marketplace, but picking the right fashion of doing that is a really important aspect of how you're going to cultivate a strong advertising campaign. So without any hesitation, I want to dive right in. There's a bunch of different pieces to this on how we start to think about the best way to illustrate your product or service to the world. So I have a document to share, and I can definitely share this with others. Feel free to ask for this. We'll put this in the comments, and we'll do other things with this so that you can get access to this. But this is a really great way for you to start to think about how should I cultivate the campaign structure and how should I actually promote the product and what is the best way to do that? So I'll go real quick over a couple of these topics and then we'll dive deeper into it. So I'll talk about the higher level, the actual subjects or the types of promotional videos, and then we'll dive into some examples and some of the logistics behind each of these examples. So in bigger text here, you'll see there are a handful of ways that you can do this. Problem, solution, benefit. We've seen many of these. Emotional journey, day in the life, show, don't tell, thought leadership, comparative, testimonial centric, the big reveal. And then I have a few additional types that I've seen also create a way for you to cultivate a campaign, which could be a how-to or tutorial and an interactive way to create some type of interaction between the audience and some type of engaging manner that does allow you to commit to sales as well. So let's dive into the problem, solution, benefit. This one I've outlined a little bit more thoroughly. This one is definitely the most common. We see it a lot. We see a lot of commercials target what's the issue, what fault does someone have in their daily life? What is the hurdle that the consumer or the person purchasing the product or service, what do they have to jump over in order to, live their life without having this issue? So typically, problems and solutions to those problems is a really great way to illustrate your product or service. So problem, solution, benefit is very common. What you would want to do here is think about these 5 subcategories underneath the problem, solution, benefit, promotional video or campaign structure. First, you want to identify your target audience. By knowing the audience, you'll really be able to understand what their problem is. Who is the target audience for the video? Why are we creating this video? And what action would we like them to take at the end? What is the call to action? But ideally, what is the overall problem? What's the problem that we're trying to solve or that we can solve for the consumer? And the core thing is to make sure that you're only targeting one big problem. You're not giving them a whole host of problems, but you're targeting one big one. And that typically really helps with cultivating a strong campaign to really resonate with that user. So if you know the audience and you know their problem, you start to talk about that problem. And then you can say something like, you ever wonder why you deal with this issue? Well, we have a solution to this. So identifying the solution after the problem is typically the way for kind of saying, hey, are you dealing with this? It grabs the attention from the consumer. Hey, I am dealing with that. Here's a solution to it. Ah, that's interesting. You're creating an interest by telling them the problem, and then you are piquing their interest and creating consideration of your product or service based on providing the solution. I have the problem, here's a solution. I'm considering the ability to work with or to purchase your product or service. And then you can create some unique benefits and values about why your product or service is better than others or why it's unique in the marketplace, and then how the consumer could actually engage with your business and how they can commit to communicating with your business and telling you that they are interested in your product or service. What is the call to action? How do they get involved? So identify your target audience, identify and address the problem, then come up with the solution, provide some unique benefits and values, and then end with how they become engaged and what to do in order to work with you with a call to action. That typically is a really great way to create interest, consideration, and take it to the next level to get involved with a call to action. Again, some examples of this. If you ever hear a promotional video say, are you wondering why, or are you tired of dealing with, those are typically ways where they address the problem right at the forefront, and then they provide the solution at the end. Emotional journey. An emotional journey is a really great way to promote any type of product or service. If you can create emotion from the visual and auditory pieces of a commercial, it can really resonate with people and really create an interaction with them because emotion really drives people's actions. In the beginning, you want to create an introduction and then a narrative. That's really going to drive like the storytelling, more or less. In the emotional journey, you're creating a portion of a story where you're elaborating on some type of emotional element towards the consumer. And then you end with the solution and the call to action. Similar to the problem solution benefit one, but in the forefront, the beginning half, you're not addressing with a problem, you're telling the story. This is very common for any type of nonprofit. You've probably come across like those ASPCA ads where it's a very heartwarming music, very sad and emotionally driven commercial where they're attempting to help you understand the issues that animals are dealing with. And then they close with, in order to help us create a solution to this problem, you can donate to this benefit, or you can do something at the end to create a solution. So emotional journeys are really great ways to do that. They're a little bit more thought out. They're pretty difficult to compose unless you have a really great way to illustrate visually. One of the biggest things that I have learned in the emotional journey, and something to consider, is the more senses, and hear me out here, the more senses that you can put into that journey, the more engaged and the more likely you are to open up to more audiences. If you can put a visual element, an auditory element, if you can put smells, tastes, anything in that emotional journey, depending on what your campaign consists of and what your business model is and what your business is, some are easier than others, right? But the more senses you can put into that emotional journey to really get the person to become attached, the better, because it engages them more and it creates a more in-depth type of consideration for your business. So the emotional journey can be very, very strong and can create a really long lifetime value for that customer. Move on to the next one, day in the life. A day in the life is a really good way to promote, well, this is how the person lives, and here's a kind of a story about the daily routines and the rituals and the struggles, and then a solution to that problem. So very similar to the above, where we talked about the emotional journey. Day in the life is similar, but it's not as emotionally driven, and you don't need to really get the person to almost cry in efforts to work with your business or to work with your service. The day in the life just kind of is more of it could be any type of tone to the campaign. It could be a little bit dreary or sad, or it could be upbeat. So you have a little bit more of flexibility when creating the day in the life. You do want to engage in creating an introduction and showing the types of struggles or the day in the life elements that you're helping the consumer overcome by introducing your product or service to them, and then providing that solution and the call to action. So a little bit more streamlined, more thought out. Pharmaceutical companies, you always see a lifestyle-driven video in a pharmaceutical ad. Not all the time they're able to show you the exact problem, but they kind of show you the issues with maybe someone having an earache or waking up with a toothache and having the pain and living through the life of having those pains, but then also having the solution by engaging with that pharmaceutical product, being a user of it, and not waking up with a toothache, right? So that's just a silly example, but very big for pharmaceutically driven companies. They use the day in the life. The next one is show, don't tell. So you're really just illustrating the product. Clearly here you need to have a really tangible product. A tangible product would be the best way to go about this because you can literally show this product in use and how it actually activates a lifestyle inhibitor or a promotion of someone's life. So similar to the day in the life, but you're really just showing the product and letting it do its thing, providing examples. This was big with like back then. You can see like OxyClean, right? You see a lot of those ad or those commercials where they're like, here's what paper towels do when they're picking up coffee off of a white rug. Here's one paper towel, and then here's another paper towel. That's a really good show, don't tell. It's an example of the product in use. Another example that I put here is Dyson vacuums. So in the subcategories here of what you want to think about, you want to introduce the product, show and tell the features and the benefits, but then show validation, right? Not only is our product more or thicker than 10 times thicker than the other competitors in the marketplace, but when you put this paper towel on coffee on a white rug, it absorbs more of the coffee off of the rug. So that's kind of the validation. You're actually showing the product, showing it in use, making sure that the consumer understands, hey, this is what it does, and this is the reason why we have these benefits to the product. And then again, call to action. So pretty big with those products that have a strong feature and benefit program around them, where you can literally just show the product in use and it validates itself. That's a big thing there. Thought leadership. Thought leadership is a really interesting one. It's a very unique one for certain case scenarios and businesses. You want to, again, provide an introduction and authority, showcasing your expertise. So making sure that credibility is at the forefront of kind of the introduction here so that the audience knows that the person speaking is credible. You see this a lot with like celebrities or anyone that has a little bit more authority in a space. It's a very soft sell. So they're not coming in and they're not selling. It's a soft sell, soft promotion. They're using the credibility and authority to help advance and promote the product or service in a way that just says, hey, because I'm offering this product to the marketplace and my authority is there, I wouldn't recommend this in any other fashion. And by me promoting this or by that user promoting it, it then kind of says if this thought leader is promoting it, we should accept that as well. You see this a lot in seminars, consulting types of groups, consultations, TED Talks, things of that nature. Comparative, I like to actually think of in a similar fashion of show, don't tell, but opposed to show, don't tell, comparative kind of features two different products against each other in a more aggressive fashion and shows the real big faults of the other product. Where before, you're in the show, don't tell, you're leaning more into, I'm showing the benefits and the validity of my product or service, and you're not really concentrating too much on the comparative product. You're really kind of just saying, this is our product, this is the way that it works, this is what's beneficial about it, and you're just really promoting the validity there. In comparison, you're really showing that if you choose this product, this is what's going to happen. We see this a lot with like kitchen product commercials, trash bags. If you use this bad trash bag, all the stuff falls through and then like the bottom of the bag just goes bust and all the garbage goes all over the floor. And it's like, well, of course I don't want a trash bag that is like paper thin, right? Because then I'm just going to pull it out of the trash can. It's going to fall through and that's going to suck. So it's a really good way to show like if you use a really good trash bag and something that works really well, you won't have that issue. So you're going to introduce, you're going to compare, show the benefits, and then lean in with a call to action. Again, a lot more aggressive towards showing the features of both, showing the faults, showing the benefits, and then boom, Now it's very clear, and you provide the validation to the consumer of why they should choose your product or service over the other. It's aggressive, I would say. The comparison one's aggressive, but it does work very well when your market is a little bit more saturated and when product use is teetering, right? Because when there's cost-conscious elements to your product, when there's time constraints to your product, you have to start to think about how can we get more aggressive in those campaigns. So it's a really good way to get aggressive when consumers have a deeper consideration to competitors. Testimonial centric, we've all been a part of seeing testimonials for products or services. You see it a lot for health facilities, fitness facilities, anything that is that probably more intangible, right? Where you can't really show and someone needs to provide a validation. Testimonials are a really great way to do that. Now, testimonials can be great for things that are tangible too, but if you can't offer a show, don't tell, or if you can't offer a literally like visual product comparison or anything of that nature, testimonials are a really great way for others to talk about your products or services in a great way. We see it a lot with like bigger companies. Amazon has done it pretty successfully. Health facilities, like I said, fitness. You're going to introduce the product, provide multiple perspectives, provide third-party authority there, people that are real-life consumers. They don't need to be that celebrity person or the high authority person like we talked about in the thought leadership aspect. It doesn't need to be someone that is at the top of a marketplace. It can be the everyday Joe, or it could be anybody that talks about and validates the product or service and how it's affected them. And I think the more real it is, the more likely it is to hit a consumer in a beneficial manner that actually creates a successful marketing campaign. So real life validity is really important there. And obviously talking about the product, talking about the brand, things of that nature are important. And then leading in with a call to action. The big reveal, this is a big one as well that we've seen more in modern times. We've seen it with Tesla, where it starts with a question or a challenge. And in the introduction, there's a big buildup, and then there's a reveal. In that aspect, there needs to be a lot of hype around that product. It's good to promote the product in advance or event in advance where you're going to release a product. Apple does this a lot. Tesla has done this. It's really big for big brands that have a large consumer knowledge base, a large consumer brand, and a lot of people know about it. It's really great for things of that nature. Or it's a very exclusive marketplace, kind of like the other side of it, very exclusive marketplace, but there's very in-depth and long lifetime value of the consumers where they're just very attached to the brand. They're very attached to the community, the group, the service. And a reveal could be a great way to introduce a product or service. And then obviously ending with a call to action. I have seen this in seminars as well, where there's a lot of people and there's a big hype around what the person could potentially reveal. So the big reveal has its use cases in some case scenarios, but is probably a little bit less likely than others. And then lastly, just a couple of other ones that I have seen in the marketplace that have worked. How-to and tutorial videos are good. Now, how-to videos could be a great way to illustrate the process of your business, right? The streamlined process from how your business does something different than another. Now, it's kind of a comparative, but you're saying more in depth if the person or the consumer knows the differences, and it's a very well-known fact between the differences. A how-to video can be a really great way to show the process that your product or service goes through that you're bringing to the marketplace. Tutorial videos as well. And then interactive, creating engagement and keeping people engaged with your product or your business or your service in a longer fashion, like a quiz or a survey. We see this a lot now where it's like, maybe take this 10-step quiz to see if you qualify for, or to see if you're fit for or what body type you have, right? And if you take this 10-step quiz, it'll tell us if you're a mesomorph. And if you are, then maybe this diet is better for you. And by doing that and by kind of going through the process of answering questions about your custom or your tailored approach to things, you can kind of create a more validation in the marketplace by saying, well, we tailor our products and services to you. And by your response and your unique ability to respond to these questions and how you live your life, then the right product will be fit for you. So I've seen these interactive promotional campaigns work really well when a business has multiple products or services, and the product or service is differentiated specifically by what the consumer's needs and desires are. So like if financials weren't an option, if diet was the one thing and all else remains the same, the only thing that was different between one diet program and another diet program was who you are and the things you do in your daily life. What type of, do you need more protein opposed to more carbohydrates? Or do you need more fats in your diet? Your daily activities would justify what diet program you would need. Then answering a series of questions can help us justify what meal plan would be best for you and what diet would be best for you. Then that is a really great use case. And I have seen that work really well for some consumers as well. Big alternative health companies do that. So it is a growing style campaign. Something usually leads to that, and there's a video around that, which is usually like a explainer or how-to process or a comparative process campaign that then leads to kind of like a secondary portion of that campaign. But the interactive style is something that's growing in the marketplace because people like customization, people like things being tailored to them, and this is an approach to be able to do that in a way where the consumer understands it and creates engagement for your company. So with all of this in mind, once you have your campaign, once you know the promotion that you want to create, this is how you should start to think about the next steps. How do I take my thought of creating the campaign? I want to promote this and I want to creatively promote this product in the marketplace by talking about this creative campaign. What is the best way to do that? Is it to compare products? Is it to provide a problem, solution, benefit campaign around that campaign theme? And then from there, then you can lead yourself into the creation of that video or the images that are used in the ad itself, and the copy around that, and the video scripts or the actual script to promoting that product or service for the campaign theme. And then from there, you have all of the other things that go along with it. What's your funnel going to look like? What is your auto response system going to look like? How quickly can you send those leads or those sales to your fulfillment or sales team so that the consumer is being responded to aggressively and as fast as possible so that your internal processes and your business structure really stands by the consumer's thought and devotion to your business? So I hope this helps. This took us a really long time to create, probably years in the making for us to break things down and start to think about creative campaigns in this manner. And it's a really great way for you to think or take a thought and start to bring it to reality. So please let us know your thoughts. If you've used any of these types of campaign structures to create a promotional video for yourself or for a client, we'd love to hear about it and hear what you use the most, or if there's any other styles that you use outside of what we talked about today. We'd love to learn more. Add that to our inventory of things that we use to create promotional videos and to start to think about how to create more strategy around your advertising campaign. I hope this helps a lot. We look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Inbound TV.